For what purpose is the senator from Eastern Fairfax, Senator Surville, rise?
Speaking to the bill.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to tell a very quick story and make 2 points, and then I'll sit down. Every once in a while I'll take on a case because I'm interested in helping somebody out. I had a client that came to me a few years ago who had a child custody problem. He lived on Route 1 near my house. And he lived in the apartments down the hill, and he was trying to get custody of his child. And I was talking to him about his child support and trying to figure out what his child support obligation would be, and talking about where he worked. And I said, "Where'd you work?" He said, "Well, I work at Chipotle." And he lived about 2 blocks from the Chipotle up the hill, right next door to where I used to work, Bob's Big Boy, when I was in high school, where I made $1.79 an hour plus tips in 1987. And I said, "You work at that Chipotle right there at Beacon Hill?" He said, "No, I don't work there." And I said, "What Chipotle you work at?" He said, "I work at the Chipotle in Union Station in D.C. I said, "Why do you commute from Route 1 to Washington, D.C. He said, "Well, they pay me $13 an hour at the D.C. Chipotle. The Chipotle in Beacon Hill only pays $10 an hour." So we have people in Northern Virginia that are commuting, leaving Northern Virginia to work in D.C. because D.C. has minimum wage that's higher in Virginia. And they're riding the metro. They're driving on the – actually, he's probably not riding the metro. He's probably driving in his car or riding a bus. But we have people that are commuting out of state to work because of our wage. The second thing I want to dispel the idea that this is somehow bad for business. You know, we talk about our CNBC ratings all the time. And Virginia moved up, I guess, to number 4 this year. We were number 1 for a while. We went down to 7, I think. Now we're back at 4. So number 1 is Texas. Number 2 is Washington. Number 3 is Utah. We're number 4. Colorado and Minnesota are 5 and 6. State of Washington, minimum wage is $12 an hour. And they're 2 spots ahead of us. They're scheduled to rise to $13.50 by 2020. State of Colorado, 1 click below us. They're at $11.10. They go up to $12.20 as of January 1st, 2020. Minnesota is at $9.86 right now. They're $2 an hour higher than we are. They're only 2 clicks below us. Colorado and Minnesota were higher than us, actually, for the last 2 or 3 years. But the idea that minimum wage is going to somehow destroy our business competitiveness ratings, to me, is nonsense. There are states that are $5 an hour higher than us right now that are ranked 2 spots higher than us. And the last thing I just want to say is that anybody, a minimum wage basically equates to $15,080 per year for somebody that's doing 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year. And nobody can live on $15,000 a year. And if somebody's getting paid $15,000 a year, there's a pretty good chance they're getting benefits from this state, whether it's Medicaid, whether it's temporary aid for needy families, whether it's other things. And by keeping our minimum wage down, what we're doing is basically subsidizing large corporations because taxpayers are making up the ability for these folks to be able to live. And by raising minimum wage, I think it'll actually have a positive impact on our state budget, not only in income taxes, but in terms of the services that the taxpayers are required to pay for. And at the end of the day, from my point of view, if we invest in people, they're going to invest back in our communities, and it's going to help everybody because a rising tide lifts all ships. And that's exactly what this does, and that's why we should vote for it.
Thank the senator for what